Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. It's been 4 days since my last confession. I've been feeling a lot of anger, Father. At myself, mostly, for getting into this mess. After I was here last time, I didn't know what to do with myself. I just walked along the coast for hours, anywhere there weren't people. David Grange is dead. If I'm to capitalise on my accidental faked suicide, it wouldn't do for anyone to recognise me. So I wondered, thinking about everything that's happened, trying to work out where my life went wrong. I know how it started. I got myself into a situation where I didn't have any friends. I just didn't keep in touch with people. It's so easily done, but once you're in that place, it's so hard to get out. You try to make new friends, but you're so desperately lonely, and the people you meet, well, they're not. It's imbalanced, see, and you need balance in a relationship if one person isn't going to think the other person's an obsessive, unstable weirdo and tell them that if they don't stop phoning at all hours, they're going to call the police. And so the friendships never work, and you fall back into your familiar, solitary pit of depression. So that's how things were. And then I met Elizabeth. We met through my mum. They volunteered together on one of her charities, and we hit it off right away. A romantic involvement, that was perfect for me. I had this problem making friends because of the imbalance, but a romance, that's a relationship you're supposed to treat as a big deal. I mean, her social circle eclipsed mine, but we both had exactly one lover. It was a level playing field. So things went pretty well. And now that I had someone, the pressure was off and I could start making other friends. She opened the door to a social world I'd thought was closed to me. And then, without any warning, she closed it in my face. She announced out of the blue one day that it was over. To this day, I don't know why she ended it. I asked, of course, many times. Probably too many. She said I was harassing her, but how could I let go when I didn't know why it was over? I started to park outside her house. It got pretty obsessive, actually. I quit my job so I could follow everywhere she went. That's where my money troubles began. I know how bad it sounds, but I loved her, and this was the only way she'd let me be a part of her life. She'd gone dates with other men. Well, I wasn't having that, was I? I used to follow them into restaurants and stand beside the table, listening to their conversation and intimidating the guy. Worked pretty well, actually. They never made it to a second date. Mind you, it didn't half confuse the waiters. In the end, she moved house to get away from me. It wasn't hard to track down a new address. I just followed the removals van. By this point, I'd eaten away most of my savings, so I had to go bank loan to move after her. When the bank wouldn't loan me any more money, I found people who would. Some of them weren't very nice men, and more recently they've been getting keen to see a return on their investment. This suicide has saved me a lot of broken kneecaps. Things really came to a head when she started dating this guy who seemed invulnerable to my intimidation. I tried every trick in my arsenal to scare him away, and by this point I had a lot of tricks. So I got desperate. One night, I was stood in her garden, hidden behind a tree, watching them cuddling on the sofa like we used to do. Nothing unusual there, that was my typical evening's entertainment. But this time, I brought a knife. I don't even know which of them I was going to kill. I don't think I knew then. But I walked towards the house, and suddenly, in a flash of lightning, I saw my reflection in the glass. My dishevelled appearance, the hollow look in my eyes, the knife glinting in my hand. It was like something snapped. I dropped the knife, turned around, and ran. That was 6 months ago. I haven't seen Elizabeth since. I can't describe my life since then. Well, what is there to tell? Life without Elizabeth is meaningless. I wake up, I eat, I worry about my debt, I get back to bed. Pointless. I've been so lonely, Father. That's why I killed myself. And that's why, 4 days ago, I was wandering along the cliff, wondering what I'd do next. I suppose that normally when people fake their death, when they do it on purpose, I mean, they work out some way to keep hold of their money. Not that I've got much, but even the little there is in the bank is out of bounds if I'm to maintain the fiction of my demise, along with my house and car and every other worldly possession. So what do I do now? Where do I live? I was asking myself these questions, and I wasn't coming up with any answers. I thought maybe I could move away, start a new life somewhere. But with what? What job can you get with no credentials and no address? It was getting late now, and I dared to wander into more pedestrian areas of town. I was in one of the run-down bits on the outskirts where I'd never normally go, and it seemed a safe bet no one else I know would be there either. Anyway, there was no one about except drunks and prostitutes, and I couldn't see any of them handing me in. I saw a boy standing on a street corner. A kid, maybe 16 or 17 years old, and at first I couldn't work out what he was doing there. And then I twigged. He was a rent boy. Now there's a job where you don't need a CV. I know, it's horrible and degrading and scary, and I'm probably too old, but I just don't care anymore. I really do feel as though David Grange died when I went off that cliff. What am I? A spirit, a shadow, existing but not really living. I needed money, so I needed a job. It doesn't matter what it is or what it would do to me. As for age, I can pass for mid-20s if I get rid of the beard, and I'm not unattractive. I'd like to think there's a niche I could fill. A car pulled up beside this boy. He had a quick chat with the driver, got in, and away they went, and I thought I could just go over there, take his spot. But I couldn't do it. I may be dead, I may not care about my future, but I wasn't quite ready to fill some pervert's niche. But that was 4 days ago. Before 4 days of living rough, sleeping in a doorway, eating out of bins. And anal penetration for cash is seeming more attractive than I ever thought possible. I think I'm in for an interesting night.